All right, guys, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion part one. It was an extended episode, so yay, that's great. In the show, in the reunion, they have a lot to get through. Now, part one was predominantly on Lisa, Bronwin. We had to see Whitney talk about Alibaba once more, and a little bit on Angie. So, let's get right into it. But before we do, subscribe if you haven't already. I cover all things Real Housewives, Bravo, and some good pop culture tea. So, with that said, let's get into it. All right, guys. So, right off the bat, we get into Alibaba. And Whitney was basically talking about how her team had used these stock images as a placement holder until her business partner in Vancouver. Now, hold up. What does Canada have to do with all of this? Keep Canada out of your mouth. Anyways, I'm kidding. So they had a placement picture in the meantime. And I'm just thinking that's just bad business. Like, why would you go live with a product when you don't have the official marketing material for it? Like, right off the bat, you're already not good in business. Okay, so whatever. That's Whitney's explanation of the stock images. Now, we get into the Lisa Barlow of it all. And the entire time, Whitney kept trying to accuse Lisa of putting these images out there. Look, the only thing I'll back Whitney on is trying to say that Lisa is bringing these stock images onto the show and sharing it with the masses. Not these pictures, but just in general, that Whitney apparently sorts from Alibaba and then sells it for a higher price. I feel like this business model has been around for ages. Think about the person you went to university or high school with that started their Shopify account. Where do you think they're getting products from, right? It's been business for like the last 10 years. It's not a new model. Anyways, so Whitney trying to pin it all on Lisa, and then the fact that she got some sort of information regarding Lisa, but then she didn't get definitive answer regarding Lisa. Like, the whole thing is messed up. And I think at this point, the cast has had it. Bravo, Andy, we've all had it. We do not care about your cheap jewelry from Alibaba. And I thought it was really funny when Whitney's like, oh, people want to buy my jewelry, but they don't want to buy it at such a high price point. And I'm thinking, is this Meredith Marks speaking? Because if Meredith Marks said something like, oh, I have a new jewelry line where it's priced for the masses, consumers, people from all different tax brackets can buy it, I could understand that. And then I'm thinking, Whitney, you had like some face oil or some face gel thing that you tried to sell at Heather's beauty lab. That wasn't so great, according to Heather. You're trying to sell something at a lower price point, but I'm thinking, when did Whitney ever sell pricey jewelry in the first place to begin with? The whole thing is a shit show. All right, so we see Andy trying to talk about the friendship between Angie Hudson-Davis and Lisa, but it is not going great because right as Lisa and Angie get into it, we then see Bronwin chiming in, and Lisa is already ready to battle. You could see Lisa's visceral reaction to Bronwin chiming in, and this to me is, foreshadowing the rest of the reunion between Lisa and Bronwyn. Anyways, when it comes to Angie and Lisa, I didn't like how we couldn't get through these two's dynamic, their friendship. They seem like they might be okay now, but like not really. We then get into the very strange discussion between Angie and Meredith. Meredith brings up Angie's WAP video that she did with Jen Shah. It was like out of nowhere. And this part had me just laughing. Meredith kept saying, it's a fact. It's a fact that you were in Jen Shah's WAP video as a backup dancer. It's a fact. And Angie's like, no, I'm not a backup dancer. We're Greek. I'm Greek. We're great dancers. And I'm just like, what are they even having a discussion about? Like, I was literally so lost. But basically, Angie was just pissed off that Meredith kept calling her a backup dancer. And so, as Andy is trying to get through the friendship discussion dynamic between Angie and Lisa, that doesn't happen. And then we get into Angie and Meredith, that goes nowhere. And then the conversation shifts to Bronwin and Lisa, and we spend a good chunk of the reunion talking about the $4 million diamond necklace. At this point, Andy's just like, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's talk about one of the most lavish gifts, which of course is the $4 million diamond necklace, darling. All right, so here's the thing. Andy's like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna wear it," and, Bronwyn's like, "Oh, yeah, I wanna clear some things up." At this point, she is still talking, or this is how it sounds. You guys let me know if I didn't get it right or I'm wrong in my interpretation of it. Oh my god, I cannot say that word. Bronwyn made it seem like her and Todd bought the $4 million diamond necklace. Like, "Oh, I thought I was gonna wear it today," which would mean you own it. You are in possession of it. You bought it from Emma, the jeweler, whatever. And she was on a podcast where the podcaster said, "Oh, it was like $5 million necklace." Bronwyn didn't correct him. It's just these little things where it does start to take away her credibility. It's little things like that where it's like, wait, you're not correcting the person. You're just letting them run with their thoughts on this diamond necklace or whatever else it is. Guys, I'm so sorry I cannot talk today. Anyways, so at this point, Andy moves on to the diamond necklace. Bronwyn's like trying to clear it up. And in her attempt to try and clear it up, Lisa and Heather just look at her like, okay, well, that still doesn't make any sense. And this is when they get into it. Lisa's like, well, I spoke to Emma. And basically, Lisa just tells Bronwyn, hey, I spoke to Emma and you didn't not buy anything. Forget buying smaller pieces, as Bronwyn mentioned at the reunion. You did not buy anything. Guys, it's as if Emma, the jeweler, she's like going against like some jeweler code, or you know how, I don't know, in so many professionals, there's codes of conduct. It's just funny, as if Emma's like a lawyer and she's going against client privilege, client code, or whatever it is. But anyway, I do think Lisa probably reached out to Emma, the jeweler that we saw. But I have to say, Emma, the jeweler, when she drove out to meet Bronwyn, she didn't seem too happy. So I feel like there was some stuff going on with the jeweler behind the scenes to begin with. And I'm sure Emma, the jeweler, shared her frustration with Lisa. And I'm sure Lisa did some digging to, ask this jeweler the questions like, hey, did Bronwyn end up buying the necklace? Oh, okay. So she didn't buy it. Did she buy anything else? And Heather's just like, if you borrowed it or, it was on loaner to you, okay, whatever, like just say it. It's little things like this where Bronwyn, it's like, did your husband have an affair? Did you buy the necklace? Did you buy a smaller necklace? What's the tea, girl? Fess up. Now, according to Lisa, it's as if Emma just texted her out of the blue and started talking about Bronwyn, how she was just there to loan the jewelry to Bronwyn. Bronwyn never bought anything. And then Lisa shows her text messages to Andy. Anyways, we then move on from the $4 million necklace. And guys, while I was watching this reunion, I was having a really hard time keeping up because they didn't really finish conversations. They kept jumping from one to the other. We don't really get to the bottom of the necklace, just that Emma, the jeweler, happened to text Lisa and share her frustrations on Bronwyn not buying and apparently giving back the hoop earrings because apparently Todd didn't like it. So I don't know, that's the end of that conversation. And of course, I'm sure production, editors, they cut off a lot, and that's the package they put together as best as they could when it came to Bronwyn and the necklace. We then move on to, or not we, Andy is just like, okay, I'm over this necklace. Next topic. And honestly, for a number of years now, Andy just looks so checked out. It's like, okay, I'm here. I gotta talk about this point, and I gotta move on to this one. We got, this many hours. We gotta get all these topics in. The women are fighting. So whatever. Andy moves on. And then they move on to Bronwyn and her fun outfits, Lisa recommending Bronwyn. Now, Lisa did say one nice thing. She did say no, she doesn't regret recommending Bronwyn to the show, so that was nice. And Lisa truly is the glue of Salt Lake City. Without her, I don't think this show would have had this cast. Lisa recommended Heather, a bunch of the girls, actually. So, the queen of Sundance. Thanks to her, we have the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, here's my take on the friendship between Lisa and Bronwyn, and you guys let me know if you're on the same page. Lisa and Bronwyn, yes, they have been friends for a number of years, but they seem like they have been social friends. Like some of those girls you see out socially, they're usually a friend of a friend, or they're your friend, but like you're more social friends. Like you and them would never probably hang out together one on one. Or if you do, it's like this one very thing that you guys might share. Lisa is social friends with Bronwyn, and Lisa, she comes across as someone who is a little surface level. Okay, I don't think that's anything wrong to say. That's just how she comes across. And she probably does enjoy Bronwyn. She probably did enjoy Bronwyn socially, as well. Bronwyn has status in the community by being married to Mr. Palm Pilot, and Bronwyn probably has access to a lot of fun events and whatnot, which I'm sure Lisa wants to attend. So it works great for Lisa. However, for Bronwyn probably thought her and Lisa were a little bit closer. However, they weren't. They unfortunately weren't. Bronwyn probably thought, okay, Lisa's my friend. We go out to fun social gatherings together. I invite Lisa over to this, like, I don't know, hard to get into prestige thing. We have so much fun together. I think Bronwyn got a taste of reality by joining the show, and now her eyes are open. It's like, oh, time to take off the rose-colored glasses when it comes to the friendship between, Bronwyn and Lisa. They're not best friends, they're social friends. So I think now Bronwyn is getting it. We then move on to Heather being a mean girl and her being more self-assured. Now, Heather's whole thing is how she was meaner before when she started the show. When she was heavier, she was a lot meaner than she is now. And now people are like, no, Heather, you're on Ozempic, you're not eating, you're probably hangry, and because of that, you're meaner. But it was so nice to see Mary kind of chime in for Heather and basically be like, oh, you're so much stronger, you're so much more self-assured now. I don't know, guys. You let me know. Do you think Heather is meaner now, or was she meaner before when she was heavier? Or is Heather, she's not being mean, she's just more self-assured, and so she feels more confident in being more vocal when she needs to be. We then jump from Heather to Bronwyn, and we're talking about Bronwyn's daughter's biological father, who is no longer with us. And this was a very touchy subject. This seems like this is something Bronwyn and Todd, they did not want on the show when Bronwyn, was signing up for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. There seems to be some sort of miscommunication going on for all parties involved, and these are the parties involved. We, of course, have Bronwyn and her daughter. We have Lisa Barlow, who happens to know the family who lost their son, who is Bronwyn's daughter's biological father. Okay. According to Lisa, this family thought that Bronwyn had a miscarriage. Now, the part that isn't clear to me is what made them think Bronwyn had a miscarriage. That's the part where maybe I missed it. I don't know. But according to Lisa, this family thinks Bronwyn had a miscarriage and they didn't even know about Gwen, Bronwyn's daughter, all these years. That's the picture painted for this family via Lisa. And she feels, very sad that, they lost their son. Now, Bronwyn's story is, no, my father called this family and left a voice message and they just never got back to her. Somewhere there is the truth, but Bronwyn is pissed off at Lisa for bringing this onto the show. But then I'm thinking on the show, Bronwyn was like, "Oh, I never show his picture to anyone." Um, Gwen's biological dad, who passed away, his obituary picture, Bronwyn had shared it with Lisa, and then Lisa's like, "Oh my gosh, I know him. I know the family." And then I'm thinking, okay, Bronwyn, so you don't show this picture to anyone. You don't talk about Gwen's biological dad to anyone. And the one time you happen to share it was with Lisa, who obviously is going to talk about it on the show. Like, come on. The whole thing is kind of a mess. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Who knows who this family is? Why is Lisa so upset? Now, the part where Lisa lost it, obviously, she seemed sad about the whole ordeal, but then she started to lose it more when she just would not apologize to Bronwyn. Look, the whole ordeal with Bronwyn's daughter's biological dad, obviously, it just became this nightmare on the show for Lisa. It's a lose-lose situation. Who knows who this family is? Now, Heather chiming in saying, just say you're sorry because you can't. Like, at this point, Lisa looks like she is, turning on the tear works because, yeah, you're in a lose-lose situation because you look really shitty over here. You brought such a sensitive topic on camera, and I do see why Bronwyn is pissed off at this point. But seeing the OGs on one side, with the exception of Whitney, it's very telling on these shows when we have original cast members on for too long, it ends up being very, how should I say it, very cliquey. Like, we're the OGs and you guys are the newbies, and you need to prove to us that you belong to sit here. So Heather, we can see she's finally been accepted by Lisa, and she's just like, nudge, nudge, Lisa, just say sorry. You can't, like, you're not going to win this one. Just apologize. It was very telling of Heather's behavior in all of this going on. So the ladies cut for break, they're having their lunch, and I'm so glad we have cameras behind the scenes while they're grabbing a bite because it's so telling as to how everyone feels. Whitney is having her lunch with Angie, and Whitney's just like quoting Taylor Swift, like, "Oh, it's me, I'm the problem," regarding Lisa. And Whitney thinks Lisa's having the same problem with everyone. So that's her take on it. We see Lisa crying with Mr. John Barlow, and John Barlow really was made for Lisa. That man is so calm and, just keeps his cool around Lisa and lets Lisa do her thing. So great. Who else? And then we see the Todd father and Bronwyn, and the Todd father has clocked in someone give him a snowflake. They're basically just, Bronwyn's rehashing to the Todd father what went down between the conversation regarding Lisa and her daughter Gwen, the whole situation with her biological dad's side of the family. And the Todd father is like, because she can come to our jazz suite and not do anything for it. They're just calling her out to be a social climber, and Bronwyn feels very used at this point. And Todd's like, "What the F? This lady is just socializing with you to get jazz suite tickets and whatnot," and calling out Lisa for it. Like, by the time these folks, by the time the husbands get ready to go on stage, they are riled up and ready to go. Now, when the husbands join the ladies on the couch, you guys know Andy, he is always going to start with some pleasantries. Obviously, Mary's husband, Robert Sr., he's nowhere to be seen. He has left the building after, I don't know, like season 1 with all that church debacle. But anyways, Andy's like, "Oh, like, where's Robert Sr.?" And Mary's like, "He doesn't want to be here." This is why you gotta love Mary. Mary is truly one of the very few housewives. I can't think of another one like her where Mary's just Mary. She's truly unfiltered. She's not thinking about, she's not playing it as a game. She's just answering questions as she feels like it. Who else? We get to the Todd father, he's joined us. Andy asks Justin, Whitney Rose's husband, "Oh, are you restocking Vita tequila?" Because, Justin, this last season, he was pouring out all the Vita tequila John Barlow and Lisa Barlow had given Whitney and Justin's like, "We're in the process of it." So, okay, I guess, they're in the process of mending things. And then we had John Barlow, his disastrous parallel parking, which that was just great editing because, in the show, we saw someone trying to parallel park. And then who gets out of the car? It was John Barlow. So, of course, Angie has to ask John Barlow about his parallel parking, but he made it here today, so all good. We end with Andy talking to Bronwin and Todd Father and their experience on the show. Bronwyn and Todd Father, they're basically like, yeah, Todd, he seems a little crass on TV. He's looked at the comments. He's taken a second look at his behavior and they recognize it. And apparently they're stronger. Okay, cool, whatever. Now, the part that was interesting at the end, Todd Father is going for it and basically saying to Lisa, like, you brought up the Gwen Stad thing on camera, the after show. And John Barlow's like, no, she didn't. And Todd Father is not backing down. Okay, guys, this is to me is just so Lisa brought it up on the after show, but they filmed the after show after the season. So then technically didn't Bronwyn bring it to camera? Lisa just happened to talk about it on the after show. I don't know. You guys let me know if I'm like missing a piece or it's just we are getting into the weeds and none of it is making any sense. But the husbands are here, the rumors, the nastiness. Part two, I'm sure, will be quite spicy. We got the husbands out. Todd Father is not holding back. John Barlow thinks people are going to be scared of him, but let's be real, that's never going to happen. Anyways, I'm excited for part two, part three, but I'm also really sad that Salt Lake City is over because all the episodes have been so fantastic. Guys, I will catch you all later. Subscribe if you haven't already. As well, feel free to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I do create quite a lot of fun, funny short form content over there. I will catch you all later.